Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be ranking all of my Pat McGrath palettes. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. So in light of the current ongoing Pat McGrath sale, I decided to dig out all of my palettes and rank them. And I have 9 in total. Coming in at number 9 is the Mothership Rose Decadence. So I believe this one came out in 2020, and this was actually my very first Pat McGrath palette. This one I think I picked up when it was on sale at Sephora because I was just dying to try Pat McGrath's formula, and it's okay. This one is fine. The color story is pretty. It's definitely one I enjoy. I love good pinky rosy shades. I think this is beautiful. The thing with this is there's just really nothing special about it. I don't think this one is really worth the high-end Pat McGrath price tag. There's nothing special about the packaging, and the shades are pretty, but again, there's just nothing special. These are basically regular shimmer shades. The only one that's really special is Fuchsia Flame, which is fuchsia with a slight bronze shift, which is very pretty. It's just, again, there's really nothing super special about this one. And I also find that I just end up creating the same kind of looks over and over. So I just don't think this one is very special. There's none of these palettes that I do not like. It's just that this is definitely the one that impresses me the least. Coming in at number 8 is one of her Mega holiday palettes, and this is the Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey palette. So I like this one a lot, and this one again comes with 18 shades. So this one was really pretty. I love this one. I think this is the first time she came out with these really sparkling, I forget exactly what she calls them, but these type of sparkling shades, but they're absolutely beautiful. I love how she did so many different formulas in here. You don't get any of her Blitz Astrals, but you definitely get a lot of her different formulas in this palette, which I loved. I thought this was such a great quality and such a great value. This retails for around the same price as this 6-panner here, so you can definitely see the difference in value. What I didn't like about this palette is that of all 18 shades, you only got 4 mattes, and the pinks almost kind of look alike, so there's really not much to work with there. I would rather build everything up with mattes and then top with the shimmers. So for me, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more mattes. There are some of these shades that I just really didn't think were necessary. So for that reason, this one is ranking a little bit lower. I do reach for it less simply because it just doesn't have as many mattes as I would like. However, I do still think it's really beautiful. I think she did a great job with it. I'm still glad I picked it up. I love reaching for these when I'm looking for a little something extra. Again, this one's just ranking lower because I'm missing some mattes. Coming in at number 7 is the first Mothership in this ranking, and this is the Bronze Seduction palette. I picked this up last year during the kind of glitch on her website, and I thought this would be a really perfect palette for me. I love bronzy, brown neutrals. Those are like my bread and butter. I love them. I just find that the tones in here are almost too rich for me personally, if that makes sense. I have to be very light-handed with these because I feel like even the lightest matte shade is a bit rich. And for a lot of people, that is not going to be a downside by any means. It is for me because I am very fair and I just don't like super rich dark looks on my eyes. I just think they look too harsh on me. So for that reason, this one is ranking a little bit lower. I do love this. I think the quality is great. I also kind of wonder why I went with the palette that has a red in it. I mean, that is a really pretty red, but I never wear red eyeshadow, so I really don't know what I was thinking. I think it's beautiful. It's just a little too rich for me. Coming in at number 6 is another holiday palette, and this is the Celestial Nirvana. So this is the holiday palette from this past holiday, and this one is beautiful. And I think a lot of people really love this one because she really did incorporate a lot of color into this one. I liked it because there was a lot more mattes than the previous year, so I think that made this one a lot easier to work with. Something she did differently with this one as well is she kind of sectioned them into little palettes of 6. So if you're having trouble figuring out what kind of look you want to do, you can just look at it in little 6s, which I thought was super helpful, especially because I'm not always the most visually creative. I can't always look at this and pair all these different colors together. When I tend to use color, it's usually pinks or purples, occasionally greens, usually pretty monochromatic. I don't tend to mix a ton of color. I think she did a good job with this one. This little 6 here gives me my favorite type of look, but these shades here are so pretty. Like I love those. Those are the types of colors that I like to throw in there. So I think she did a really great job with this one. The only reason it's ranking a little bit lower is simply because it is more colorful, and like I said, I'm not always the queen of color. However, I do think she did a great job with this one, and I definitely do prefer this one to the previous year. Coming in at number 5 is another palette that was released for holiday 2022, and this is the Celestial Nirvana in Bronze Bliss. I love this one. I really, really love this one. I love that you get this really beautiful light champagne. This black here is actually very creamy. It was very, very easy to work with. I'm somebody who's very, very shy when it comes to black shadows. I don't typically use a black shadow ever unless I'm using it for a liner, but this made it very, very easy. These bronze shades are beautiful, and this silver in the middle is the creamiest, most foiled silver in my entire collection. I love it so much. The only reason I'm ranking this one a little bit lower is because I wish there was another matte shade in here. Whether they had to forego one of these, like maybe this one could have been skipped out on, and maybe a lighter matte in there I think would have really done this palette a little bit more justice. This middle shade reminds me of, to give you an idea of the texture, it is very soft, very creamy. If ColourPop had a Super Shock shadow and made it super pigmented and foiled. That's what that reminds me of. It is that same sort of consistency, but when you pick it up, it is so opaque, so foiled, so beautiful. I love it. But I just find it a little bit harder to create a look. A smoky eye isn't typically what I'm going for, so for that reason, this one is ranking lower. I do super love it, but it is ranking lower because a smoky eye just isn't my go-to. But I do think this is stunning, and if you get a chance to try out these little quints, I think she does a great job with them. So coming in at number 4 is a palette from her very recent Love collection, and this is the Iconic Infatuation palette. So she released 3 palettes in this collection. There is a rosier one, which is this Iconic Infatuation. There was a bronzier one, as well as an all matte. I did not pick up the all matte, but I did pick up this one and the bronzier palette, and they're both super beautiful. There is absolutely nothing bad I can say about the formula in these palettes. The difference in formula between this 6-pan and the one that I ranked at number 9 is crazy. The formula in here is just bang on. It is so good. The way the mattes just blend into each other and melt together it's almost incomparable. They're so good. And I love the way she laid out 3 mattes, 3 shimmers. They're all so, so stunning. I think she did a fabulous job with these. I think it's a very basic color story, but this is the kind of color story that I reach for, that I love on. So I do highly recommend these 6-pan palettes if you were thinking of picking one of them up. I think these are phenomenal as well. The quality is so good. The shimmers are gorgeous. I really, really love these, and I consistently reach for them, especially for these mattes. Okay, coming in at number 3 is the last palette I have from the 2022 holiday collection, and this one is the other quint in Nude Allure. So this one is very pretty, and this one also only has 1 matte, which I don't love, but believe me when I tell you, this is the creamiest matte I have ever felt. It's like a cream to powder shadow. It is so beautiful. It's so easy to work with. It feels so nice to the touch. This shimmer here is really beautiful. I love the rosy tone to it. It's just so pretty and reflective. The pink shades are beautiful. And even though you only get 1 matte, I feel like you can really share this out or build it up to make it more flexible and have it do a little bit more. I just think it does a great, great job. And all of the shimmers are so beautiful and impactful. So I think she did a great job with this one. I love these quints. They forever live on my desk because I do love them. Coming in at number 2 is the other mothership in my collection, and this is the Divine Rose 2 palette. So this one really got me because of this shade here that has a shift from pink to green. I just think that's the coolest thing. However, since I picked up this palette, now I have a few palettes that have that same sort of shift. I just think it's so interesting. But again, I do love a good pinky rosy tone palette, so this one also just spoke to me. I love that you get a really light crease shade. For me and my skin tone, I need that. Then we have a deeper shade here, and I can go with a very, very light look, or I can build it up to be bold and impactful if that's what I want. The shimmers in here are gorgeous. The Blitz Astrals in here are super beautiful. I don't necessarily reach for the yellow gold too often, but I do think everything in here is just super, super beautiful. The number one palette in my collection has become such a recent favorite. This is a newer release. I've been playing with it for almost a month, but I want to reach for it every single day. And this is also from the Love collection. This is the Sublime Seduction palette. So typically something that I have had for such a short period of time would not become a favorite. But again, these 6-pan palettes that she released in this collection are actually incredible. The formula on them is just so good. So good, so easy to work with, so blendable, so buildable. On top of that, I love the way the mattes in these palettes, again, they just melt together. Like they're just made to work together, and I love that. The shimmers in here are super beautiful. I kind of leave this one out, but these two look gorgeous together. And then I'm left with a super simple, beautiful, bronzy look of my dreams. I love this one. It's so flattering on the eyes. It looks so nice, and it's so easy to work with. I cannot get over how easy these are to work with. So that is why this one has become my favorite Pat McGrath so quickly. But that is it for me today. Let me know down below what is your favorite Pat McGrath palette, or let me know if you're planning to shop the sale. I've been eyeing up Utopian Dream since it came out, and I keep talking myself out of it. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!